St. Kitts Nevis time. It's 4 minutes after 8 o'clock. 20 days until the big day.
Wow.
Well, one of the big days for the season.
But it's the big day. That's the big day that most people look forward to. And if you want to put it with Carnival, then you could say the day after could be one of the big days.
Oh, definitely.
That they look forward to as well.
Except we get 2 this year because I think,
we do?
Well, I mean, if you count the fact that I think Christmas Eve is Sunday.
Yeah, so no.
It's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
What?
It's weird because Sunday, I don't want to say it's weird, but because Sunday we do a big cook, so that means that Sunday we have to do a little cook in order to do the big Christmas cook where we normally get together with family.
So that would be Monday. That would be the Monday.
Yeah, it's really weird, huh? Because ain't nobody going to want stale food from the day before Christmas. Dinners.
Almost.
No, eat light on Sunday.
And then the big
open
thing
the
on
appetite
Sunday.
on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this shop should open on Sunday so we could get some exercise.
Well, we know the Chinese are always open.
Well, the Chinese can't get my money, but that's another story.
Oh Lord! All right.
I don't spend money with the Chinese.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No.
All right. You sound like a friend I know as well. Good morning to the Federation of
I'll
St.
die
Kitts and
first.
Nevis. You'll die first.
Yes.
Why?
Because I will die first.
Oh boy, that's rough, you know. So what if that's the only place that's open?
What did I just say? I will die first.
Oh boy.
Kay, what's up? You all right?
I'm trying my best to be my best, thinking that you will die and there's food available.
What color is that? Is that
it's
chartreuse?
It's what? You gone bougie? I've never heard that color before.
Yeah, that's like a purple.
It's a purple.
Thing.
Yeah, I guess a shade of.
Yeah.
Wow, you know your colors.
Well, thanks to the girlfriends over the years.
Because most, no offense, guys, don't get me. Most guys don't know colors.
Yeah, because a guy would like a guy with a pink, but then your girlfriend would correct you and say, no, that's
rose pink.
What's the other one? There was this other
fuchsia.
One.
It's
fuchsia, right?
Oh,
yeah, they say, no, that's fuchsia, and then you'll say that's blue. No, they say that's teal. I said, okay, whatever.
Yeah, turquoise, etc., etc. Shades of blue, shades of purple. Thank you so much. And how was your weekend?
Well, it was tiring. I'm still recovering.
Okay. And what's in your cup?
Recovering insomniac right now.
Lord Jesus.
In the sense that
sleep.
Well, because we had the Calypso, eliminations on Saturday and Sunday. We had like over 40 Calypso spread over 2 nights at Spratnet. So I mean, it finished early, but then.
Oh, so you actually went to that?
I was one of the judges. Full disclosure. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you had so you had a hand in some of the persons that are in the finals.
Yes, I like to tell people. I was telling AZ yesterday. The thing is, people always forget that you're not the only person on the panel, right? You run into your friends, and they'll be like one friend WhatsApped me yesterday, said, "You all really don't know what Calypso is."
Oh boy!
And I go, I agree.
Oh boy!
That's my way of saying, well, I not that I'm throwing shade. I'm just saying, like, some of the selections I thought were not what I thought would have been selected.
Oh.
Yeah, and that happens. I find
that always happens. Yeah.
When you're judging and they're different persons, I often tell persons, especially I've judged Calypso before. I've tell persons that I would have maybe a top 5. The top 5 might be in different orders,
and sometimes you don't even mind the order.
But you have generally like a top 5. You understand? And so my top 5 and your top 5 might be the same, Kortensia, but then you have a different order for your top 5. And I find that is what happens a lot of times.
And that I don't mind so much, because usually the spread might be 1, 2, 3 points. So you realize everybody's kind of within the same neighborhood.
Boy, this sounds like a lot of work.
But then when you have whole selections which you personally think shouldn't be there,
Wow.
Yeah. And then there was the judging workshop. I wasn't a judge for the last elimination, but I just saying based on experience prior. And there was a judges workshop, and a valid point was made. If you have a song or performance and you as a judge say that it's very good, and I say it's a weak performance, the disparity between that is one of concern, because you have one judge saying that performance is excellent.
Especially if they're wildly different.
Yes.
Wildly different opinion.
It's a different thing if it's one judge says it's excellent and the other judge said that's a very good performance. At least you have some similarity. So in terms of the taste. So you say it's excellent, I say it's very good. At least there is some sort of similarity there, rather than when you say somebody said, "But this is excellent," and another person said, "No, that's poor."
And
That's the
it's
poorest
like
thing I
totally
have."
different zip code.
Yes.
Like, you know?
So, how tough it is to... So it's really tough to be a judge then, I can assume.
Well, the score, for me, scoring is simple, is what happens after when you have the whole panel and when you put all the points in together and you see the outcome.
Wow.
It's really when you have the panel, because so many different people have different views. The best thing to do when you have a panel is at least everyone on the panel could agree that whether this is a good performance, a very good performance, a very poor performance, or a satisfactory performance. When you have at least that across the board, then you know that, okay, the panel is having the same thing. But when you have, if you have a panel and 5 of them are on the panel and 3 are saying excellent and 2 saying very poor, then that's concerning.
Wow. Boy.
Yeah. And well, you remember last week we mentioned that remember I was saying last night in the chat, because of the immediacy of the Calypso's eliminations, we kind of ignored the fact that we had the Soca eliminations on Friday.
Oh yes.
So
you have the scores.
Scores, yeah, I think I do.
Or the placement, whatever it is.
The placement, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they. You remember how yesterday I was saying, Soca gets short shrift sometimes. I fully admit I contributed to it yesterday. Yeah, I'm not gonna throw you guys on the bus. I'll go under the bus by myself.
See, I can't go under the bus because I wasn't there. I watch it online because I like to watch it for the fun parts, like Unexpected and Lala and stuff. I like to watch it for that, but unexpected, not expected, according to Chris Moonlight. He kills me with his antics. That's all I like.
We had to change the order because he didn't show up. But he didn't. It turns out that he didn't want to compete. He just wanted to perform. So he came after and he performed on Sunday. Actually, I pulled out all those last night. So because you remember I was telling AZ yesterday. One of the things. In my position as a judge and being on the air, you can't have the appearance of being biased. So I made sure yesterday I only pulled out the highest score come out, and the Queen, who performed as well. Just
the
a
one
performance.
That says Conway's didn't write a song?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Miss Independent. And then last night now I took the time to take out some more the other high places and some other.
But does she place, or is she there already? Persons are just going to compete against her.
Yeah, but she just performed.
Yeah.
But the song that she's singing, is that the song she's going to...
That's one of the songs. Okay. I think. Yeah. I think, yeah.
Okay.
Because they sing 2 songs.
I think it was good to actually hear the reigning queen perform, even though it's not being judged at that moment. I thought it was good to listen to the performance. At least persons are aware. And I guess for her too, she's able to engage and see where she's at in a competitive setting, but yet not being judged.
Okay.
Okay, I have this stuff, but let me. Oh, the person stopped calling. I was going to want to see what this. I'm always curious to see what the opening batsman has to say when they call.
Yes.
Because I saw an article that said Kamal and Easy lead pack as saying Kids Power Soca heats up for final clash.
Yes, that's what I sent. Did I send that? I think I sent that to the chat.
Put it in the chat. Or maybe I missed it. As I said, we put so many things in there. By the time one gets to that chat, it's like everything's gone. You have to go all the way back.
Let me read out these first before I go to the phones. So we had this. And big ups to Skelec for getting all punny and
providing
sponsoring
power.
And sponsoring. No, and sponsoring the power. Well, that too. That part goes without saying. I guess their sponsorship is to remind us. Don't forget, we can just turn the lights off if you guys don't show some appreciation.
Better.
So yeah, the Skellek Power Soca Monarch competition. So in first position we had Issa Kamal and Statics. You had Ras Kelly in let's say third. Blade. Mr.
Statics
Hype.
was the reigning.
Yeah, he was reigning. Yeah.
Oh, it's raining.
Yeah.
So he's reigning. So
okay,
he's
so
just
yeah.
there.
Okay. So,
Yes.
Okay.
But he performed. I think they don't.
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not
They
sure.
don't usually.
No, I didn't really
thing.
see that one. I only saw the Calypso one.
I think it's because it's only Power this year. Maybe if they had Power and Soca, he may not have had to perform. But anyway, KT Don, I could be wrong. Someone from the secretariat will from Sugar Mash will correct me. Lock Boss is number 7. Deli Ranks 8. 5-Star Pino number 9. T-Bone, he's with number 10 and 11 there with Upset Squad. T-Bone and Molly. And 9 out of Nevis is number 12. So those 12 people go on to the finals, the cooler edition. So you'll be permitted to take your cooler with your drinks and so on.
Yeah. I thought you meant the cooler edition in terms of
it being cool.
Yes.
No,
no.
literally no. You're walking with your cooler.
You're
walking with your cooler.
Well, I don't know if I like that cooler thing, but
no, but if you don't want to do that, there'll be a bar. But the
I know,
idea
but I
is-
don't like the cooler thing. Allows you to drink as much as you want.
Well, it's carnival, isn't it?
Oh boy, y'all drink from the cooler, but please be extra careful. Remember, you have to get home, and friends,
Yes.
one of you be the responsible one to take everybody home.
Yes.
When they're done drinking.
It's all good when you're having fun until someone gets hurt.
And we don't want anyone hurt for this carnival.
It bears mentioning that Issa Kamal is at the top of the heap in both Calypso and Soca. Caller, go right ahead.
Good morning, Jamster, and good morning,
Hey,
Azard.
what's up?
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Morning.
Good morning. Wonderful discussion. Not too bad, not too bad. I got my foot them to give me problem, only that, but the body structure all right, as far as I concerned inside. Now, my little discussion this morning, and the Calypso, I'm glad for that discussion this morning. Now, I was listening the Calypso 10. I didn't get to think, I watch it on YouTube, because I had to work, I didn't get to attend none of them at all. The the elimination. But my concern is a Calypsonian Pat. It seems to me like only when certain parts in government, some Calypsonian overseas come home and they contribute. Because maybe that they feel like they could get the crown because maybe the government win. I have a lot of respect to Lord Kent and other Calypsonians who are overseas. Every year they contribute to the Calypso arena and even independent Lord Kent. Everything he contribute here. So I have no problem if Lord Kent contribute to the Calypso. Come in and enter the competition because the guy contribute every year. But this guy, it seemed to me like only when he party in government, he come back and he sing because, he's a professional and, maybe he will get the crown. And all these things I don't think is fair for our Calypsonian who here, singing in the tent, year in, year round. And I don't hear nothing from him to contribute to our carnival, no time at all when he overseas. So I would just like to know if I believe that they should make some kind of changes. As long as they contribute into carnival in the year coming up, I do not think they should take part in the carnival. Because the Calypsonian them who here, working hard, singing out there all the years. People like Jungle Lion and all those guys. Some guys they sound good if they got the guy high job. These guys could even get a pick. But I don't know the reason why, because these men not because they're professional. And they come king down in the board a couple of times, and they come up kings after times here. They could just come and enter the competition and feel like they could win the crown. I do not believe it's fair. Anyway, you all continue. I will continue to listen to the program.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
This is the person he was talking about, Mighty Pat.
So they will do anything in their power to make sure these islands don't prosper. They can't wait until next election to say I had tell you so. My friend, that is wrong. You're only keeping these islands down. We got to help the government. After all, it is all of us that they represent. We got to stop the fussing and fighting, cause it ain't getting us no way. Get rid of our hatred and anger. Look forward to a brighter day. Let us think of our children's future. They're coming up and we going down. Remember if...
So that's a Mighty Pat. And
he's in the competition?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he actually, he's won a few times.
Oh.
Like twice or so.
So he participated in the elimination and
he's pretty good.
He went forward in. He's one of the 16?
He's one of the 16.
But should that be an issue
Number
that
5, I think.
that folks come back home to participate in the Calypso competition? Was the caller trying to say that he has maybe the upper hand, more experience, or he just doesn't participate in every competition, but because his government is in power, he's back to hopefully win?
That almost sounds like the argument people use for people overseas not coming to vote.
Yeah, it sounds just like that.
I could appreciate a good song. Once it's a good song, it's a good song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Regardless of which party you support, once it's the wit, the music, everything, a good song is a good song.
Because Queen Independent did say
we have
that.
a caller.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry.
Caller, go ahead.
Jamster, how you doing?
Hey, I'm okay.
No women here, brother. I just heard that caller with a rather interesting point. Now...
Oh, hey, no, what's up? Yeah, just picked up.
Two things. It's not only overseas. If you check the archives carefully, there are some Calypsonians even who live here who choose not to perform under specific administration. Now, one could say, well, it's not the administration, their government in power. That they only sing when their government is in power, but they live here all the time. Now, whether or not it's fair, I guess it's a function of what the criteria say. And I don't know if it has changed. Much has changed since I've been Carnival Chairman. But it used to say you are a national of St. Kitts and Nevis, which qualifies you to participate. So, be it a national where you qualify by economic citizenship, be it a national where you were born here or you were married into the passport, so to speak. Don't know if it's a case of being unfair, but it's according to the criteria. So I just wanted to make that little contribution, and we must understand that different committees have different visions. So we can see a metamorphosis going on right now. And if a Calypsonian just has the spare time, because I remember I used to chat with a good buddy of mine, Richie Bunting, and we used to invite him home regularly. But for him, his professional commitments around Carnival time, when he was living in the U.S., it just did not permit him to come. So sometimes it's a function of availability, flexibility, a work schedule, and other things of that nature. So have a good one, Jeffrey.
Yes, great.
Yes.
All
Thank
good
you so
points.
much, Mr.
All
Mills,
good points.
for
That's
calling in.
Former Sugar Master
Yes.
Chairman.
Okay, so once you're a national, it doesn't matter where you live.
Yeah.
And as you said, others would have...
He made some good points.
Yeah.
A lot of persons have concerns too. They feel that if you have an administration, a ruling administration, and Calypsonians sing against that ruling administration, they like to say that they won't make it in because the selection of the judges will be that one which would not favor that sort of thing. Which I look at it and I said, the persons speak about that, but is that really, does that really happen? And other things that persons, might not, a particular administration is in, and, their songs might gear towards supporting that administration. I like to say a good song is a good song.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, even regardless of political affiliation or regardless of which side you support, once you could come to the decision that this is a really good song, whether it supports the party you support or it doesn't, a good song is a good song.
Exactly.
And in the fairness of Calypso, we ought to push that.
I should point out something. I think it was last year. Last year, a certain Calypsonian, who is now a big government official, had a bunch of judges roasted in a song. A whole verse roasting me, a whole verse.
You were roasted
each,
too?
Yes, a whole verse roasting to other judges.
I hope you came out well done.
That means Jamsa is a famous judge. Jamsa is on the level of being roasted.
I never really agree with that stuff because, really almost like borderline ad hominem stuff and so on, as far as I'm concerned. And it turns out I didn't vote. Not vote. I didn't judge last year. I didn't judge last year. I ended up doing the broadcast, the host for the broadcast, and he didn't make it to the finals, and I didn't judge. So like I was having a little Schadenfreude when I was like, oh you're roasting. But at the same time, let me say this, and I think I told you this before.
But Unexpected would have roasted the entire Labour Party back then, and he made it all the way up. I don't understand.
What people don't get about me as a judge is I try to be as fair as possible. Listen, he could have done a whole song on me, and if I thought the song was well done, he was going to get a good score.
Exactly.
And this is what they don't understand. I do not care. As long as you could come and listen, you could do a song and call it Jamster's Bad Habits. And if you nail it, I'm like, wow, that's pretty
fair
good.
enough.
Yes,
Here's
Calypsonians
your
of
point.
the year, please.
Probably he's got
a hit song will be Jamster's Bad Habits.
No, because the point is, the point is, as long as the song is good, you can roast
Another
me all
thing
you
that
want.
person's said, and being on the panel before, is that the judges know who they're going to place. I mean,
That's
furthest thing from my mind.
yes.
that sound like cheating already. The fact that they know who they're gonna place.
But then, from my experience, I have never had anybody on any committee say to me, "This is the song I want you to push,"
exactly.
or "This is the person who has to win." You understand? You go there. Sometimes you don't even know you're judging. Perhaps even maybe like a day before. Or
I was
something.
supposed to be the alternate, and I ended up becoming a judge because a judge could make it.
Okay.
So sometimes you don't know until very late.
I think it's Fridays when I found it. Okay, you're gonna have to judge because.
Oh, so you guys don't know beforehand, so you could curry favor.
You might know 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
I don't think it's that.
It's not.
Nobody's thinking about that. Come on, you really think we're spending 3 days before a competition? Plotting.
Somebody just might.
Plotting the takeover of the
And the thing
Calypso
about
world?
it, I always say, for me at least, there has never been anybody who says to me that we want this person to win, or you have to make sure that person wins.
That's good.
At the end of the
true.
day, you put in your scores. I say it's up to the auditor. I don't know where the scores go after that. You
Although
understand?
I feel
or
like
what
that-
happens after the scores are submitted.
But I do feel that needs to change. I feel like before the auditors hand over the scores to the MC, they need to let us see the scores.
Because I was looking
Oh,
at the
we
other
should be
night
as
with
part of the
Moonlight.
consult, yeah.
They didn't have the 16th individual on the paper, so he had to go back to the auditors because
Yes,
everybody was
yes.
counting 15, even us at home.
Yes.
So he had to go back to the auditors. So
Yeah.
with a mistake like that, because we all make mistakes, I don't want to say detrimental. How bad is that, though?
Yeah, that's a very good point, Kay. That's a good point. In fact, yes, I don't know if some people may have noticed, I edited the clip with the results to you
So,
wouldn't even know that
just a
happened because
correction,
I was just interested in the scores, right?
Okay.
Unexpected has never made it to the finals. You had mentioned that he went all the way up. He has never made it to the finals based on a comment made by an individual.
So but didn't he win Soca thing when he had the one spot thing? No,
No,
he
but
was
that
just
was
singing.
it was a very. Oh wait, he won best of the rest.
I think no. I thought
Was it best of the rest?
The finals of Calypso?
Well, we're talking about this. We're talking about the senior monarch competition.
No.
Yeah.
No, I know you never know.
Okay,
I think that was a soca song too with him mashing up the form of Mr. Douglas, Miss Jacint, all of them.
Oh,
I know you
full
mean.
of fork.
Forks
Focus.
and cups and yeah.
Focus.
Yeah.
I think that.
Focus
so-
is a different one. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the individual is making mention to the senior Calypso. So in the senior Calypso,
No.
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, I've never seen him. Listen, he does too much.
But I don't. But there are other. There's been other competitions like the Extempo.
Yeah.
There've been the best of the rest and those kind of things,
Yeah.
which I don't have all the history on those. So I
Yeah.
don't have.
Because I
Y'all
know he
wa-
made it
y'all
to
wa-
one and he won it, and it had to be in one spot.
Y'all want to hear a little bit of unexpected?
Listen. He and his heart stars.
a vision that I was in a stadium. I see some horses line up like they're going to run. But something drew my attention. All the horses.
Okay, I keep you guys in suspense. Let's go to the phone. Hi, Lati, you're on the air. Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, question.
Yeah.
What are the criteria? What are the guidelines that are used in identifying and selecting judges for the Calypso competition? Are these individuals very well versed in the art form, in terms of lyrics, melody, structuring, the history of the art form, and other things? Maybe Jamster. I think Azard has been a judge from time to time too. So it would be good if more people know, or those who know are reminded of the criteria, because people get suspicious, and a lot of times without good reason, and it creates unnecessary bad blood. It takes away the enjoyment and the whole purpose of the carnival. Everything becomes a controversy. The cheat, the this, you know what I mean?
Yes,
so
yes.
I think it's always a good thing to let the public know as much as you can let the public know, so that the suspicion hopefully will abate and the enjoyment and the cultural productivity would improve. So if you guys could help answer that question, I'd be grateful.
Okay, good point.
Yeah, good point. Based on what I've seen recently, there have been workshops where they encourage persons to come if you're interested in being a judge at the competition. And then from the workshops, you are given the criteria in which you're going to use on the night, and they go through the criteria, and you have a discussion. And you also have the facilitator, the last facilitator, who I thought did a really good job of going through what everything is when you talk about rhythm, when you talk about so many different things.
Melody, harmony,
melody
so on.
and everything like that, yeah.
I think what Dwyer meant was, I think in general, they tend to seek out people with a music background, and maybe even maybe people who have sung before, and maybe have been sitting out for a while or retired.
Azard. Since Azard doesn't sing, how did Azard fit in there?
I mean, I've done
Remember
piano.
lawyers know everything,
I've done piano classes before. So as a child, I was I was part of Hulders Lawrence's School of Music.
Okay.
I sat exams in piano and stuff like that.
Okay,
Theory
so you have
and
a musical
practical.
background.
Yeah, back as a child.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I since then had put away that the piano and everything.
So you put away childish things, which is good for adulthood?
I know
What's
that.
going on here?
I'm telling you.
What's going on here?
I mean, I should have pushed it further, but
Yes.
it's this.
Imagine
it
you
takes
backing up the Calypsonians.
It takes a lot of time and
Okay.
practice, and so to really get to such a great level, you know what I mean? The dedication that one has to put in when it comes to the musical art form, and so it really takes a lot of time and dedication.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's never too late to restart once you get some time.
Yes. Trust me,
gentleman.
is it time?
Yeah.
Because you have to practice. It takes in terms of the piano, you really do have to practice. And I found my strength was more in the theory than the practical aspect. So for me, when I first did the exam, because the exams would come down from England, to my amazement, I scored 100 in the theory off the bat one time.
Mr. Smart is at being smart.
But the practical aspect of it really gave me more of a challenge. Really, that was the more challenging aspect of it. Yeah. The theory came more naturally to me. So you have your different aspects in terms of the theory and the practice.
Okay.
And then the other layer is they've started to formalize things over the last maybe 10, 15 years, where they bring clinicians from Trinidad, Barbados to train the judges.
Okay.
And the most recent facilitator, she's really good.
Yeah,
she has. I think she has sharpened. I think she's sharpened up a lot of the judges' analytical skills as far as how to you could say segment the performance while at the same time treating it as a whole and being able to look at all different elements and come up with scores that reflect it as a whole and also it all of its constituent parts, you could say. Yeah.
So you trained this year?
I attended the workshop yesterday.
Okay.
Oh, he was a valedictorian.
Oh, yeah. See, smart guy. Smart, yeah. Listen.
It was no such title given there. But yeah, it was a very good session, I found. It was very informative and we were able to give our own feedback.
Nice.
I like sessions where you have you be able to hear your opinion and stuff like that and have a discussion. So it wasn't just like this. It was more of a talk. You have a talk. This is my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to attend the training for the Queen shows this year, but I didn't make myself available. But that's something I'll put on my resume to do. I didn't.
Oh, for the Queen show? Oh, they have workshops for the Queen?
Yeah,
they had workshops for the pageant as well.
Course.
You went?
Yeah, I went to.
Okay.
I went to the workshop for the pageant. Quite a good one too.
I like how you take on those opportunities, and that's what I say going
I
forward.
didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think in fact Miss Rattan Mack was the facilitator for that, and I think she did a good job as well.
Nice.
Yeah, really good job.
Let's take this call. We're due a break, but it's 8:35. Let's take this call before we go to the break. Call over right ahead.
Hey, boy, Jamster, I love when you guys are talking Calypso,
No. Why don't you join us?
Carnival
You
in
should.
general.
No, this would have been a good morning if I had known. I mean, we kind of have free time. If I had known, I would have let you come in.
Yeah, that would have been a good discussion.
Maybe I'm overseas and just coming in for the Calypso.
Maybe.
Caller just called and asked about the criteria for selection of judges. And that took me back to something that made me smile. Because when we were there in 2015, there were actually certain judges who would come in from overseas and they would call us up and tell us they're going to be available for the finals. Now, obviously, from a transparency and psychometric assessment standpoint, that is not fair. So the team had put a program together for selecting judges. First and foremost, it had to be random, meaning your name's going in a bag. And I can't speak for what's happening now, but your name's going in a bag and you were selected randomly. Two, we also had another rule in place where you could not judge all three stages. So you could either judge the eliminations and finals or the semi-finals and the finals, whatever the case is. Additionally, we introduced consistent training programs. And we would have used locals, we would have used foreigners, not only looking at the history as the caller mentioned, but things like what is a bus and why do scores vary so much and all of those. And you had to attend. At minimum, there were three sessions, 3 seminars per year, and you had to attend at least 2 to qualify for selection. Now again, I can't say if those selection criteria are in place today, but the caller made a very, very good point, and the public should know, because not only the public, but even the Calypsonians, I feel sometimes that we try to beckon to them and it never worked as the way it should have. But I think the Calypsonians should also go to the judges' seminars.
Amen.
They are able to listen to the judges, discuss judging and discuss psychology and discuss composition and what is a good song, a bad song, and they can learn. But I've never met a case where you have Calypsonians outnumbering the number of persons who are judging in a judging seminar.
But in fact, Noah, they they did invite this year the Calypsonians to be a part of the first session with the Calypso judges. There was Calypsonians there.
And this is probably the most we've ever had, but it still wasn't enough.
They were always invited.
Okay.
But if you have 60, and I don't know what the magical figure is, if you have 60 registered Calypsonians, I can't see why at least 2/3 or whatever the case is coming. Well, they're not coming to the seminar. It could only benefit them.
Yeah.
Word.
Well, even at the workshop where, they were Calypsonians, it wasn't a significant number. In fact, not even half the number.
Not even quarter.
Not even quarter, yes.
Yeah, that was the best showing we've ever seen.
And then they start singing colorful lyrics about Jamster and what he does and what he doesn't know and how he cheats.
And it would be very interesting, as you say, for the Calypsonians to be there to see when the judges start to give their views and what they think. For the Calypsonians to even say, well, this is what you're saying. Why didn't you see it this way? And have that engagement.
Although you have to be careful with that line of reasoning, because it'll sound as though you're not judging what's there. It sounds more like you're saying, "Oh, you should have done this."
But remember,
whereas that's a tricky balance. No,
remember,
it doesn't matter. It's because again randomness will take over.
Yeah.
So if you have 12 judges in there instructing Calypsonians as to the assessment models they use, yes, everything will come out in the wash, so to speak. So if Jamster looks for something else because he's musically inclined, and another judge is theatrically inclined, may not have music, we have 3 different criteria with several sub-dimensions.
Yeah, and
so
Noah,
getting that blend of judges is a beautiful thing.
No, and you mentioned that, and sometimes it comes to my mind when we are judging. Would we reach a stage where we have persons strictly judging content, whereas we have persons strictly judging music and persons strictly judging performance, where we find that, okay, then if you are you have a background predominantly in theatrics, okay, we'll let you judge the performance. Or if you have a background predominantly in music, we'll just let you judge the music. And, if you could, maybe those persons verse in content, and so would judge the content. And so all of them discourse go together. I mean, that has never been done.
My answer to that is why not? You do it in the Queen pageant.
Yes.
The judges getting up and sitting down, some judging speed, some judging talent, some judging costume.
In fact, that came to my mind very often.
Because of their niche experience and expertise. Now, I think it's just a resistance to change. Why, be it the Calypsonians don't want it, or several different carnival committees object to it. We discussed it when we were there. Another thing that many persons have suggested is you actually giving a distinct score for music and it going through the entire competition. And what I mean by that is your music does not change or should not change.
Yes.
Based on your score sheet. It's an A, it's a B. That progression, that timing, that melody, it doesn't change. So should my score fluctuate from the eliminations to the semis to the finals?
That's a good consideration, because the music, more or less, unless they change it up totally, is the same.
So shouldn't we have software that we spit in all of the musical arrangements for the songs, and then it gives you a score? Then you give it a score out of 30, and you walk with that score throughout every stage of the process.
I like
because
this.
a band having a bad night, I shouldn't be penalized for that. If the horns are off, if the guitar is playing the wrong music sheet and he's playing somebody else's song, what does that have to do with my music?
But I'm glad we're having this discussion, because these are the things we should be discussing. I mean, someone would push back on that and say, well, I mean, everything else you judge based on what happened, so that applies to the band as well. If the horn section is off that night,
but the thing about it,
the scores should reflect that.
Calypsonians and performances so much depend not only on themselves but on others. For example, the backup singers. Whether or not those backup singers at the time, their vocals are really good, they might have had a night where they were singing, and so they might be hosting next day. You catch what I'm saying? So so much is reliant on external factors and other persons to ensure that performance comes off well.
But you do realize that
Another factor, and this is the last one before I run away, is standardizing the music, the sound. A long time ago, certain islands used to have calypso eliminations at different tents and different venues. So the acoustics at the different venues different. So you're subjecting judges to that. Additionally, one mixer for one band, one sound system, the number of horns, all of those things would make my song sweeter than Jamster's. Is that fair? So
well, it is. I want my song to be sweeter than yours.
All of those things should be standardized.
When we look at the preparation fee, because someone had made a comment about the preparation fee for Calypsonians being less than that, the money is given to Calypsonians to prepare being less than that given to soca artists to perform and prepare. I'm making the point that is unfair. If it is true that, Calypsonians, do they receive less monies to prepare than soca artists?
Jamster, I also suggest that you contact Monarch. Monarch currently did.
You dropped out. Repeat what you said. I have to contact Monarch because you dropped out.
Yeah, he's of faith with all of the things from the current models in place.
Yes.
So he'll be ideal. Now, I
sure.
too heard that argument, Azard. Was it Azard who said the difference in payment?
Yes. In terms of preparation for the Calypsonians.
And mathematically, using pure math, we should strive for standardization and some equity. And what I mean by that, if they're using the same model, meaning Calypsonians need to sing 2 songs, and Calypsonians need to go through eliminations, semifinals, and finals. Effectively, you have them making 6 appearances. Now, I have been told, and I maybe you could call up Monarch and verify that, I've been told that there's quite some disparity between what the preparation fee is for the Calypsonians. The Calypsonian actually mentioned that to me, and the soca artists, because the soca artists now mathematically only have two appearances and 1 song. So Calypsonians have 2, 3 appearances. Soca artists have 1, 2 appearances, the semifinals and the finals. I think the disparity, and I have not seen the document myself, so let me just make that clear, is 1,000 for the Calypsonians and 3,000 for the soca artists. Now, one might argue that the theoretical presentation of the soca artist bigger, but from a psychological standpoint, from a motivation standpoint, from an equity standpoint, I could see why some Calypsonians might say, hey, that's very, very tough, because you have to pay people to go on stage just like the soca artists. And some of them build elaborate props as well. Some of them have audio recordings, digital video recordings as a part of their presentation. But I think it needs a conversation between all of the stakeholders for there to be perceived equity and actual equity.
Okay. Noah, you need to really come join us. If you're saying you're off island, but when you come, please just.
No, I never said I'm off island. I said maybe I'm off island.
Yeah,
maybe off island.
Yeah, he never said he was off
smart man, Noah.
Very smart. I must say, you're not gonna catch him.
So, just reach out to me when you're ready to join us. I mean, it's carnival time. You could always be a guest host.
Yeah, it's a wonderful time.
You guys continue doing a good job, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Yes,
okay, Noah.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for your contribution, Noah. Really good morning here as we talk about, Carnival and Calypso and the music and the art form.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm
Okay,
learning
guys.
so much.
Yeah, I know. Guys, let's take the quick break. It's 12 minutes until 9. Take the quick break. And we're gonna go out to the break with Lord Matt. He has a song, Boy Go Walk.
That song had me laughing on the inside there.
different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Unwrap the joy this Christmas with DDC. Dive into our all-in-one Christmas package. Purchase a 2024 model from TDC Automotive and seize an auto loan at just 4.75% from TDC Financial Services. No deposit, no repayments for the first 3 months, and up to 8.5 years to repay. Because your dream car deserves a dream deal. And that's not all. Drive worry-free with TDC Insurance. Enjoy up to 60% no-claim discount. Make your holidays unforgettable with TDC, where every drive is a celebration. Hurry, visit TDC today and let us make your Christmas extraordinary. Terms and conditions apply. TDC, your road to a festive ride.
Yes, this is 50.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Good night. If you're not strong, yeah.
Here comes a little bit of Hollywood. The second highest scorer on Sunday night.
As I get older, my bones get weaker. But thank God, I'm still mentally strong. When life applies pressure, the weak is surrender. Different strokes, different folks, a true expression. Video circulated with troubled youngster. Many laugh at his mental disorder. What is joke to you is dead to another man, even if you walk in his shoes. You may never understand, because life is full of surprises and disappointment. Life is the greatest teacher. I'm always a student. I live and learn. If you're not strong when problems confront you, if you're not strong when love shatter your heart, if you're not strong when top secret betray you, depression will only tear you apart. You got to be strong mentally, strong to protect your sanity in this world with Satan's agenda fulfilling by the hour. Strong to keep yourself out of jail, strong when loyalty fail. That's my discovery. True strength is mentally.
So that's Hollywood. Second highest score on Sunday night. Mm-hmm. If you're not strong.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He represents Nevis, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's from Nevis. Like
no, he's from St. Kitts, apparently.
Yeah.
Hollywood. He's from St. Kitts.
That's why I said represent.
Yeah.
No, but
he was born over here.
No, when you say represent Nevis, you make it seem as though he's singing on behalf of Nevis.
Isn't it kind of like that?
Mm-mm. He's singing on behalf of him.
Well, yeah, because this is one country, so
it's one federation, yes. Yeah. But if Nevis win the crown, what are they gonna say? Nevis win the crown.
They win the crown all the time.
They've won the crown before.
Yeah,
and that's as it should be. It should be an issue, right?
No, for me, it's a federation.
But I don't see it as Nevis winning the crown or St. Kitts winning the crown. I see it as the individual winning the crown.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes how we differentiate.
Well,
I'm not trying to be bad, but I'm just being the devil advocate because we're gonna be like.
I know the crown, like you could say, the crown going to Nevis.
Going to Nevis,
but I still see it as
But it's no different to the crown going to Sandy Point.
Yeah,
in a show. Even Sandy Point is gonna claim the crown down Sandy Point.
I'm not sure where he lives, but let's say he lives. If he lives Cotton cotton ground. I said, okay, the crowd gone cotton ground. Oh.
Yeah.
That's what the Nevisians might say if the competition is in Nevis.
Yeah, I tried to think like that because I feel like we need to get away from the kind of
separation.
Yes, the kind of insular mentality that we tend to have sometimes. I mean, to one country, 2 islands separated by just two miles of water. You know?
That's all. 7 minutes.
I mean, we're practically the only. You realize we're practically the only island that can sanely talk about building a bridge between the 2 islands.
Because it's not that far.
Yeah.
And one day,
and not sound crazy.
One day, I'm hoping that this bridge can come.
Ooh,
you know? Yes.
Oh, under this leadership, we're gonna get that bridge, y'all. We're gonna get that bridge so we can walk over. A nice, cool walk over.
Yes.
Well, I got a bridge to the listeners. A phone call.
Oh, yes, we're gonna bridge it.
Go ahead, caller.
Go ahead, caller.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
First thing, I want to really give some profound kudos to Noah. Noah came under a lot of fire when he was president of that, Carnival chairman.
Mm-hmm.
But Noah knows his onions. Right? Noah is a man. I'm glad that you invited him. I hope I get a chance to this when should he join you.
He better come because he's going to, get some word from me.
He's a massive asset with the art form, with the whole Carnival thing is concerned. So I just want to big him up big time.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Secondly, that whole issue there we just speaking about with respect to come to Nevis and Nevis with a Nevis one. Brother, that is a serious thing when it comes to this St. and Nevis thing, eh?
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell you now that perhaps that's one of the reasons why we don't have a bridge. Okay? Nevis will never prepare to have themselves as an annex to think it's why no bridge. Have a nice day.
When I think about the bridge, I think about ease of access from Singis to Nevis. I also think about maintenance, because for that bridge to remain there and to be safe, it has to be maintained.
Must.
And the government...
You have any cigars over there?
Government, administrations, past and present.
Give him a candy cane.
Government, administrations, past and present, when it comes to maintenance, that has been one of the major issues. You understand?
Preach.
So, I like the bridge, but we're going to have to be able to maintain the bridge too.
We're not
to
even
make sure that nothing happens.
We're not even maintaining low, you could say, let's say, things, just regular stuff. Imagine something that's sitting in salt water.
That's what I'm saying. We can really have to maintain that.
Must. That's a big must. Because if vehicles are gonna cross, we are gonna physically walk across, bike across, skate across. It has to be intact and properly.
And the other thing is, I always feel it for the divisions. Like even when we had the workshops, and sometimes they have to leave early.
Yeah.
Because the boat is going over.
Yeah.
Okay, so the workshop went to what, like 8, 9?
Yeah, it went really late.
But they could have chartered.
Yeah, they did. But I remember one. I think the first night, it might have been Soca. Okay, you weren't.
Yeah,
there.
I wasn't there.
Yeah, I think it was Soca, and I think they had to leave like a half an hour before we were finished.
Oh wow!
So if we had the bridge, a lot of those considerations wouldn't apply.
They'll just have a long drive home.
Yeah, I mean, like culture. Imagine, say you want to go over Jewel, you want to go over the Calypso show. And sometimes you're at the mercy of the ferry.
So probably what you
get up and drive.
To do with the bridge too is have a toll, so the bridge could pay for itself.
Of course.
Absolutely. I would not
free runnings here.
I would not have an issue paying a toll. I would pay. I would gladly pay like $30 round trip.
Exactly. Maintenance fee. That's what we're gonna call it.
And the thing about it, right? Sometimes I'm not in government, but sometimes I'm thinking, the monies are coming. They collect the monies. Don't they? I mean, when
you should start the bridge party.
Bridging the gap between St. Kitts and Nevis.
How is it in terms of the budgeting and maintenance of things we don't get right? You understand? Like in terms of putting aside monies for maintenance of infrastructure.
Yeah.
Because trust me, there are a lot of issues where we have persons here in St. Kitts and Nevis working in government buildings. We are persons suspected with the mold. When it comes to the mold,
too hot because the AC is down.
And we can't even take care of I wonder where all these mold issues are coming. So if we can't take care of those, and the mold thing is not really a simple thing, because that mold can be
and
really
the complications
to your respiratory
system,
right?
when it comes to this, something like that, it's alarming, and I think we don't even take it as seriously as we ought to. We have a caller.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's interesting that the bridge conversation have been thrust in the forefront at this time.
Yeah.
And I suspect it's because many realize that it might be the solution to a lot of the inter-island problems that we've been having, okay, in the past. Okay. Unlike something like geothermal, which I suspect, even though, because it's developed on one of the islands, regardless of what agreements are signed now, it will be regarded as its resource and may want to renegotiate if it in fact materializes. Okay? A bridge, on the other hand, is just that, a bridge, which would obviously benefit both islands. And it's not a case, you talk about maintenance. Actually, it might not be as difficult as we think, depending on the design, because I suspect that one of the things they may do eventually is bulldoze some of those hills on the southeast peninsula, right? And have a kind of causeway out into the sea. And do the same thing with, I think it's called Hurricane Hill in Nevis, which, by the way, is in the flight path, or pretty much in the flight path of the airport there. Okay? You'll be killing two birds with one stone in that it allows for larger aircraft to land there and make night landing safer, as well as start from that side of Nevis, use the material in bulldozing that hill to form another causeway from that side.
Okay.
And then the actual bridge would be somewhere in the middle.
Okay, Mac, this is actually I want to tackle you on this, because there's some environmental issues there. But I like the conversation. We have weekly dose. Already, so we have weekly dose coming up next. So you can always call back. We can revisit this after. Okay, so 9:01, and let's take a quick break, and we're gonna come back with the Good Doctor.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Don't struggle this Christmas. The Bank of Nevis has the perfect loan just for you. Life may not be perfect, but this holiday season, the Bank of Nevis is making it better with an unsecured loan of up to $40,000. Use it for home renovations, furniture and appliances, travel, carnival costumes, and any other family expense. Borrow up to $40,000 and make your Christmas dreams come true. No down payment, no security requirement. Interest rate is the most competitive in the market, and your loan application will be fast-tracked. Payment deferred for 1 month after approval, and you have up to 5 years to repay. Get your holiday fund started with this great financing of up to $40,000 from the Bank of Nevis. Offer ends December 31st. Visit the nearest Bank of Nevis branch today.
Terms and conditions apply.
Here's your Hustlers Value Match Idea Specials, running November 30th to December 13th. The more you shop, the more you save. Into December, get the double points on dairy and frozen food. Now, our Value Blue Tag Specials. Sunny Delight Smooth and Tangy, $5.99. Egg waffles and pancakes, $13.99. Stone Ridge Ice Cream, $16.99. General Mills Honey Nut Cheerios and Lucky Charms, $17.99. Essential Everyday Shredded and Chunk Cheeses, $7.99. Quaker Granola Bars, $12.99. And now, our very low weekly value deals. Nora Sides, $7.99. Orchid Apple Drinks, $9.99. Ensure Nutritional Drinks, $8.99. Quaker Oat Regular and Quick, $17.99. The Colgate Toothpaste, $7.99. Extra Liquid Detergent, $12.99. Shop smart, shop value mart, and get the double points for more rewards today!
And we got the trap beat doctor in the house. Let's get the show on the road. Weekly dose.
Yes, so good morning to everybody. We have Dr. Osborne and we have Weekly Dose. And Dr. Osborne is going to present to us a case. So this morning is going to be different.
Yes.
With the start, we're going to have you present the case, and then we're going to ask questions from the case that you present.
Keep your face looking nice, right? We don't
Yes.
want to look too concerned today.
We're going to have all straight faces in here.
Good morning, everyone,
And I
and
have
thanks
my tea.
again for having us here on Weekly Dose. All right, so I've got two cases we're going to present. And these are real cases that I've dealt with recently. A little bit of the data may be slightly changed to kind of keep the audience from trying to guess who it is. Let's not focus on who the person is, but focus on the case and in the information. So I'll present this case. It was a 56-year-old male. So he presented to the emergency room about 3 to 4 weeks ago. And he had a large swelling down by his groin region. That's down by the area where your hip meets your pelvis there, right there, just above your pubic region there. So it was large, it was swollen, and it went right down into his scrotum. He said that it was very painful. When he presented, he had about 4 vomits, okay? And his belly was bloated, and he hadn't remembered when was the last time he had passed any stool. But he did say that when I asked him, I said, but this thing, how long you've had this? He said, well, it was never this big. It would be there, but it would go away sometimes, and sometimes it would come up. But this time it got so big and it wasn't moving. It was there, it was painful, it was hard. So he was forced to come to the hospital by his family member after they realized that he was having all these vomits. He was feeling very ill. So when we examined him, we saw that there was this huge swelling on the right side there that went from the groin region right down into the scrotum or into the ball sack, as some person may know. And it was very huge. When I tried with gloved hands to reduce the swelling, it was painful. He screamed and it wouldn't go away. So let me ask Azard, based on the information he's heard so far and the time that he and I have spent together, what do you think is this problem? I think we've mentioned it before, discussed it before. What do you think is his problem before we tell the audience? Any idea or anything that we've discussed before come to mind? Something that's swollen, it used to go in and out, but now it's so swollen, it's not even moving. Anything comes to mind? Azad, am I putting you on the spot?
So many things, because you have so many. What about
right
hernia?
down by, yes, that's exactly what we had there. So we've spoken
Azard,
about
the
hernia.
polymath. He's a doctor as well.
Yes.
I just glad I didn't get it wrong on air.
But Azad, once I'm done with you, you're going to have your certification in medicine.
Thank you, doctor. I appreciate it so much. There's always that thing where you could be a lawyer and a doctor at the same time.
So we've answered the first question. Yeah. What is the diagnosis, or what was the diagnosis of this patient?
Yes. Wow.
Wow. Yes.
And when I said hernia and you agreed, I said, wow, look how serious this thing is. Yeah.
All the way down now.
Exactly. Oh. So, doctor, could you go in further as to your diagnosis of this patient?
Mm-hmm. So we said that he had this huge swelling there, and we said that actually it is what we call not just an inguinal hernia, now it's an inguinoscrotal hernia. Simply meaning it goes from the inguinal region or the groin region right down to the scrotum or the sac. Mm-hmm. So it is so huge, that is what it's called. So he had a large inguinoscrotal there.
And how did that occur?
Good question. How did something like this occur? By abandonment. Having a hernia and it's go untreated for many, many years. We've spoken about hernias, and hernias usually starts, most of these hernias are congenital or born with them.
Really?
And yes, most of these hernias in the inguinal region. And unlike an umbilical hernia, studies show that an umbilical hernia sometimes can close down on its own between the age of 3 to 4, maybe 5 in a young child or toddler. With an inguinal hernia, it never closes. So that hernia stays there, and over time, it gets bigger. What happens? Nothing, you've done nothing. So you continue, you're growing, you're lifting weights, doing physical activities, and what happens? That opening or that weakness that is there, it becomes much bigger. And once a person is standing, you know about gravity, the content from inside the tummy starts pulling down there. So the patient tells us, oh, in the morning the swelling would be less. But when he goes about his activity throughout the day, it becomes bigger over time. But he's had this, remember now he's 56, all of his life. So he's adjusted, accommodated with this, starts wearing bigger clothes and ignores it. And this is what becomes of something like that. And then we can lead to certain complication. But this usually starts very small, but if unattended, it becomes worse over time.
So was this an easy fix?
Was it an easy fix? I'll tell you, that's an excellent question. If you ask, was it an easy fix?
So the question too, does it go away on its own? Apparently not.
Well, it comes right into what the question that was just asked. Is it an easy fix, and does it go away on its own? It never goes away on its own. An inguinal hernia doesn't go away on its own. It needs to be repaired surgically. We said unlike an umbilical hernia that can close sometimes on its own, that's the hernia by the navel, this one never closes on its own, not at all. It only gets bigger at a time. And I'll ask this question to you again, Azad. Do you think if a hernia, it is smaller just there by the inguinal region versus a hernia that extends to the scrotum or into the ball sack, which one you think would be easier to repair? The larger one or the smaller one?
Well, I think the fact that I think location matters in this instance. I'm not
But
doctor.
the smaller or the bigger one would be easier to fix. If you have it just small there by the inguinal region, or it becomes so large it extends down into the ball sack, which one you think? This is easy, Azad. The smaller one, of course, would be easier to fix. So, just to ask the question, which was it easy to fix? No, it becomes much more complicated. One, it's now a surgical emergency instead of a planned procedure. So remember, in a planned procedure, you could take your time, get the blood works, get things organized, prep the patient. Now it's a surgical emergency, and now you have to do this under much more difficult conditions.
Location matter?
The location matters, remember, only because it tells you what type of hernia it is. So it's a hernia down there in the groin, it's an inguinal hernia. But as it becomes bigger over time, it becomes much more complex. Because what is making it bigger, Azad? The content from inside the tummy. You have your intestines and your bowels going down into that opening, into that weakness. And that is where you see the ball becomes bigger. Have you heard of Bamanku?
Yeah.
Maybe you two are too young.
No. That's the African word for hernia, yeah.
But there's a nicer word we use in Guyana called Godi. I don't know if you heard
Godi?
that.
No,
yeah.
we're not familiar with that
before,
word.
I remember when you're small and then you try and lift up big things and they say you don't get Bamanko.
Yes, that is
You get
exactly
Bamanko.
it. So that's the concept of a hernia. And so back in the time before we had all this advance in science and treatment here locally, men would walk around with all these hernias and cannot do anything with them. So it's like this lifetime bamanku that they had, okay, because it was left unattended.
That's a very interesting word.
Yes.
The thought of just saying Bamako is a burden on itself, on its own.
Because you're carrying a large weight there, and it becomes uncomfortable. And how do these men adjust? By simply trying to wear bigger clothes to hide it, bigger T-shirts and longer, tops to avoid it being seen.
Go to the doctor, guys.
Please go to the doctor. So what are some of the symptoms?
Yes, some of the symptoms associated with these is that the person would start by having this lump or this bulge. Sometimes they'll say, Doc, this thing comes and disappears on its own. Sometimes when I cough or when I lift something, you'll see it bulge out and it gives me a bit of dull, dragging pain. At first, it's not going to be intense. Oftentimes, too, once we don't think that something doesn't give you intense pain, it means that you can ignore it, you know, and sometimes you may feel some pressure in that region. So most of the time people going, oh, and you ignore it. Oftentimes our males do not present for health checks. Our males are adverse usually to going in to see the doctor. So usually when they go in, it's because it's something serious. Yeah. So it worsens over time when you start lifting heavy weights and you're straining, laughing, coughing. Wow. Okay, lots of our male in our society do manual labor, do physical labor. So they're carpenters, they're joiners, they're masons and stuff like that, laborers.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, why? We know men don't like to go to the doctor, but why would someone let a hernia get large without care? And I see one here, Doc. I'm going to ask this. I don't want to be the devil advocate, but it says, even other physician might say, if it doesn't bother you, leave it alone.
Yes, so that is one of the things that we always face when we're dealing with general surgery.
Okay.
Because you would go to a physician and it's not speaking ill of a colleague, and the patient would say, Doc, I have this hernia and it's not bothering me. Then the physician may say, well, yes, so if it's not bothering you, you could just leave it. You could just wait for a while. And that while becomes years. And then what happens? By the time you come in, that thing is larger. And instead of repairing it in 30, 40 minutes, you're there on the operating table for an hour and a half. And every time a person, the extension of the surgical time, that means that person is under anesthesia, that increases your risk. So doing a case on the elective or planned condition is not the same as doing it on the emergency. So sometimes patients are fearful of seeking medical attention. They know what it is. Sometimes people know what's going on. They know that it needs treatment, and they're afraid. They start thinking the worst case scenario. They're afraid to having surgery. But if you delay and it becomes complicated, then it's more fearful. Okay? And some persons often think, patient will come to me even with a lump in the breast, and they say, Doc, it's not hurting me, so that's why I didn't bother with it. But because it's not hurting, it should even be more fearful. So they'll say, oh, I have the swelling, but it hasn't been hurting me, so they don't bother with it, and they move on. So we've got to be careful of some of these things, and we are being misinformed by friends and family, or just leave that alone. That's not any problem right now. When it becomes ripe, that's another term we use in the society.
Yeah, I've heard
it
that.
It becomes ripe, it comes. But that's actually the time when it's worse for you. Do not wait until it becomes ripe. I've always asked the patients, it's not a fruit. What does ripe really mean? Yeah. So patients would even ask me, well, I have this hernia. Is it ready to cut? Yeah. If most hernias, once you're an adult, it's not going to go away at all. So it is ready to cut from the fact that you have a hernia, or else you're going to wait until there's a complication.
Wow.
Indeed.
You know, what you said just now, it's a feeling I always had growing up. I feel like the medical culture here is sometimes could be kind of cavalier and casual, almost bordering on, to me, professional negligence. Because I've had many, I remember as a kid, I had pneumonia. And we went to 3 doctors, and they couldn't tell me I had pneumonia. There was a Peace Corps doctor here from the States who finally figured out I had pneumonia. And as young as I was, I remember thinking, how is it that these local guys didn't know I had pneumonia?
It's because I am a physician myself. There are different ways to look at it. It could have been the timeline from when you saw one physician to another physician. There may have been some gaps there.
We're talking days, no?
The symptoms could have been much more pronounced. And sometimes the doctors will not always get it right. So I would not want to just say that. And I wasn't there, Jamrock. And at that point, when you were much younger, that's over 50 or 60 years ago, about.
No, come on. No,
I'm just messing with
no.
you. But times have changed, knowledge has increased over time, And you've got to have some grace because sometimes we're working with limitations. So the doctor had to make what we call a clinical diagnosis just based on just listening to you, maybe just had his stethoscope. We didn't have access to a lot more x-rays and maybe CT scans and stuff like that.
I mean, I've heard so many of those, just leave it stories from people.
Yeah. And we don't want to leave things because we don't want things to get thing. Okay.
Don't want it
so
to
let's
fester.
move on.
Yeah. So what is the possible outcome of delaying the surgical repair of hernia?
Of an inguinal hernia,
Inguinal.
a groin hernia.
Inguinal.
Yes, this is not a test for you, so sometimes you may not get the words correct. So if you don't remember inguinal, just simply say groin hernia, hernia in the groin. Okay. So what are the complications? Our patient that we mentioned at the top of the discussion presented with that inguinal that complication because what he had was a hernia that was incarcerated or trapped. So that hernia there is now stuck and it couldn't go back in. Remember he said it always went back in and now it's stuck there. It's not moving and it's very painful once you touch on it. So he has that complication. So it's incarcerated. And he also has another complication. He has some obstruction. What does that mean? He has bowels or intestine that is stuck in that hernia and now it is being blocked or squeezed off. Hence why he presented with all these vomits. Because once there's any blockage in your colon means that things are not going through. You're not going to be able to pass stool, you're not going to be able to pass gas. And if it's not going through, it's going to come back up. And that's why this patient presents with vomits. So all these are signs that he had a complication there. Another complication you could have is that because the bowels are squeezed off, the blood supply is affected and that becomes ischemic. Imagine any part of your body that the blood supply is not going there going to that area, it becomes a problem and that tissue can eventually die and give you severe complication. Okay, so those are the main complications.
So how common are these
And
hernias?
who gets them?
Yeah.
And who gets them? Yes. So how common are these hernias? These hernias, inguinal hernias is actually the most common types of hernias. We've mentioned other hernias in the past, umbilical hernias, that's hernias by the navel. You could have a previous surgery before and as a result you have a weakness, so you have an incisional hernia. But inguinal hernias are the most common type of hernias and they're seen in which gender, Azard, most commonly?
Men.
In men, yes. Most of the patients that develop inguinal hernias are male. And why is that? Because the testis starts inside of the tummy and then they go down. So they make a path to go down into the scrotum. And what happens if that pathway doesn't close behind it properly, then you have that weakness and you have that opening that stuff would push down into. So that's it.
I was just thinking maybe it's because they lift too many heavy pounds, but thanks for that explanation.
No, because if the pathway doesn't close behind it, it's like a track. If it doesn't close, then it leaves that defect or opening, and then we have that inguinal hernia there that develops.
So, guys.
Is there any questions, Azard? Any concerns?
What
questions?
You said you had another case.
Well, I don't know if we'll have time.
Yeah, go ahead. You have 8 minutes.
Okay, so let's talk about case 2.
Yes.
So this case was an 81-year-old female who presented to my office. She was referred by a physician saying that she needed a colonoscopy, that patient. And then, of course, another tip for all physicians, and just to remind myself, even though a patient is referred with a request, you still have to do your interview and your evaluation of the patient. When I spoke to the patient, got her history and examined her, I thought that she needed an upper endoscopy, which we spoke about last week, instead of just a colonoscopy. So I suggested to her and her family that I think we should start with the upper endoscopy. I said we can later then do the colonoscopy, but I think that the upper endoscopy is of most interest, because what was her complaint? She had some weight loss, she had some discomfort just under her breastbone there, just by her stomach region. She said that she was feeling full pretty early, so she wasn't eating as much as she ate before, and she had some discomfort when I touched in that region. So I suggested that there may be something inside of the stomach. So we planned the endoscopy, and when we went there, effectively she had a lesion there, or a tumor inside of the stomach.
Wow.
And took biopsy, because you always need your biopsy. You take pieces for specimen to be tested in the lab by your pathologist, and it confirmed that it was a malignant disease. It was a cancer.
Wow.
In an 81-year-old female who was previously healthy, just had some mild high blood pressure at that point. So that is what we call stomach cancer.
What are some of the signs?
What are some of the signs of a stomach cancer? That's a very good question, but it's one of those cancers that is very difficult to diagnose early. Why is that? Because the symptoms that the person present with can mimic almost anything, quite a variety of stuff. So you have this discomfort and just this uncomfortable sensation by your stomach there. You don't want to eat some days. You're just feeling kind of weird, but you can't put a specific thing to it. So early stomach cancer tend to be non-specific. That's the word we always use. The symptoms are just regular symptoms. If you have an upset stomach, you may have a vomit once or twice, you may have a little nausea, and then you go back to feeling okay after you vomit. So you continue to ignore it until it comes to a point where the person or your family member starts realizing you've lost significant amount of weight and something is just not off. And if you're accustomed to have 3 healthy meals a day, you then don't want to eat anything, you're just drinking some tea. This is something that alarms the person. So those are some of the common symptoms. And you start feeling weak, okay? And then you have this, you could have these heartburn or things that we call indigestion. And another thing too, you may have your stool being black. Why is your stool being black? Your stool can be black. Some patients will come and say, Doc, my stool is black. That is something we call melena in medicine. What does that tell you? That there's somewhere in your stomach most times, or somewhere high in your intestines or in the bowel tract, that there is some bleeding. And that bleeding mixing with the stool and make it black. And it has a characteristic tarry look, like tar. And it smells. Once you smell it, you'll never forget that smell. And so the patient can present that. And so they have bloating and they have some stomach pain. So
which is distinct from some of the stuff that you eat that makes your stool a little darker.
Yes, there are going to be some foods that make your stool a little bit black, but we'll have to make sure, differentiate that and discard that. But that thing is characteristic, man. It tends to be kind of tarry, kind of mushy-like, so it's not going to be solid. And I'm sure persons who are listening to us might have had that or might have known someone who's had that. So those are some of the common symptoms, and usually they're pretty vague in the early instant. As the disease worsens, they may become more pronounced. One of the things of this disease, it's very aggressive and it's very difficult to treat.
But who's most affected by this?
Who's most affected by this? Tend to occur more in patients who are older in age. You've also heard about the H. pylori bacteria. You've heard people that, I'm being tested for H. pylori. That's a high risk factor for someone developing cancer of the stomach. So if a person has what you call H. pylori infection, it needs to be treated and eradicated. Persons who are of that Middle Eastern or Asian descent, because of some of the foods that they eat, they tend to have these cured salt food, certain foods like that predispose you to having it. If you've had chronic gastritis, to persons who have this constant GERD or this reflux disease, they put themselves, these are risk factors. There's not one particular thing, but it's a combination of things. And as a person gets older, there are changes in their body, changes in their DNA makeup, and there can be different mutations.
Okay. Do you have more questions?
Oh yeah.
So you had a question?
Yeah, just I don't want to go off the question reservation.
Yeah.
But, I wanted to ask the lady's prognosis. Did it spread? Is it a case where
the
you
lady's
just take the mass out and it's good?
Well, the prognosis for this individual, or in general, because cancer of the stomach, it's a very specific cancer that most of the time by you get to a diagnosis, you're at a stage 3 or a stage 4. We said stage 4 is the last. Of course, we're still working her up with different studies, but it does appear to be a pretty advanced disease. And if you do not get this cancer very early, like stage 0, stage 1, the prognosis usually is not really good. So with this disease, early detection is very important. In some cultures, you always hear in Japan, they do screening for patients to do the upper endoscopy because but most of the countries worldwide, we do not have a standard screening for gastric cancer. But because it's so prevalent in certain cultures, like in the Japanese culture, the Chinese culture, they have more screening plans. You know, like a woman gets a pap smear or her mammogram as a screening. We do not have screening tests typically that we do, where we do an upper endoscopy. We do it if the person have a symptom or they come with a complaint and you suggest it. So then, by the time you make this diagnosis, oftentimes it's pretty advanced.
So what can we do? I want to talk about the eating before we go. How can we prevent stomach cancer, and what are the best foods that we can eat going forward?
In terms of preventing stomach cancer, what can we do? You treat any infection or any conditions affecting the stomach. We spoke about the H. pylori. So if you have a positive H. pylori test, the best thing to do is have it treated, eradicated with your antibiotics. We test again to ensure that you've eradicated the bacteria. You want to treat any ulcers in the stomach because they put you at increased risk. Any infection or inflammation, we say that is gastritis. So anything that's affecting the stomach, you want to treat promptly. You want to eat as healthy as possible. Your fruits, your vegetables, healthy diet. You want to avoid canned products and all these salted food and these cured or smoked type of food that persons eat. Get a diet rich in vitamins, antioxidants like your vitamin C's, your beta carotene, and fruits and leafy green vegetables. And avoid smoking. Remember, we said smoking and tobacco can be blamed for almost any type of cancer, and it does affect or influence in cancer of the stomach. Yes. So there is no one thing to eliminate it, but there are things that we can do that we can control. And if you have any inclination that you're having this recurrent discomfort in your stomach, the best thing is to get an upper endoscopy, which is quite easily done, and you can rule out any stomach pathology. Yes, if there's a caller, we can take that call.
Okay, hopefully they'll call back.
I encourage persons to take the opportunity to ask questions. This is where she's giving so much information, the doctor here.
And visit your doctor and don't wait until it's right, because that doesn't make sense. We have to throw away the old wives' tale, as we say. Yeah, and just go to the doctor.
Yes. Caller.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I know it might be a bit of an uncomfortable question, but we often hear of a lot of these things, and cancer included, that after a particular age, one becomes susceptible to it. And I'm wondering if at that stage, it might be a trade secret, but is there like cutoff ages where it's probably not a good idea to even try to go in and do anything? Or is it that it's stage 4, but you got to try anyway? Bearing in mind, are there considerations like cost of doing it versus the effectiveness of doing it? Do you actually say, well, it's expected at this age, and therefore, just let things just slide, put it that way? I know it's a difficult question, but I just wondered, how does a doctor look at things like this?
Okay, thank you for your question. I actually love that question. That's an excellent question, because we're faced with this dilemma very often. And we do not want to take for granted, I'll say a couple of things, because the person is 81 or the person is of advanced age, that we just dismiss them. Yeah. They're different persons, although they may be in advanced age, their life expectancy, they have another 5-10 years. The person is basically healthy and active. So this is a female who's quite active, goes to her church, is involved in her daily activities. So this is not anyone who is deteriorated. So I know we have to take that into consideration, and we don't want to do that. Because some studies and some research indicates, like for example, the colonoscopy. I don't know if I've told you this, Azard and Kortensia, that the colonoscopy is recommended that after the age of 75, you do not do it anymore. But if we have a healthy 80-year-old, we can do that. And we've operated in persons who had cancer and they've survived. So we got to take it on a case-by-case situation and look at the condition of the patient, look at the type of disease. If it were like a colon cancer, I would think that the chances would be much better. But a stomach cancer is very aggressive. By the time you've had this diagnosis, there's already spread to the lymph nodes that's there, the other organs that's there, and the tumor, although you're just looking inside in the stomach, you've already had spread by the time at this thing. So you have to sit with this patient, explain the options, do different studies to help with your staging, like we'll order a CT scan. We'll want to make sure, do we have spread elsewhere in to different organs, okay? Wow. And then we can have that discussion with the patient and the family, knowing that if we make any attempt to do anything, it can shorten the patient's life. And a person who has advanced stomach cancer is not a good candidate for any surgical operation. So what are the other options? We can have chemotherapy. There may sometimes be radiation. There's another call.
And because we love you so much, we're going to let you take another call.
Yes.
9:34. Caller, go right ahead.
Good morning, guys, and good morning, Doc.
Hey, good morning.
Kristen, I hear you, and I hear many of the doctors, they talk about pharmaceutical and, they talk about all kind of different electronic tests. But I don't hear you all discuss about a number of bush that we have in our yard, that we throw away, we cut down and we throw away, have been known to cure many forms of cancer. I see you talk about the smoking of the tobacco, but you may consider smoking of the weed may cause cancer too, but the same bush we smoke is the same bush you boil and drink to cure many cancers. And I normally just put this to many doctors. Why you all don't discuss about herbal care and bush care? It's always about pharmaceutical, and there is a bush that cure every disease and virus that affect our body,
Thank you for your question.
If not cure them fully, it slows them down, and it helps us to live longer.
Okay.
Just Azard.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Medicine, quickly. Medicine is always and forever evolving, and science is always looking at what we have naturally from the earth. Medications can be natural from plants, and they can be synthetic. We are traditionally trained medical specialists, okay? I was not trained as a herbalist. That's a whole field on its own, and it does have its place. Yeah. But I'll give you a story quickly before I go, because I'm very, very passionate about this. Many years ago when I started my career, there was a lovely young lady who had about 3 children. She was diagnosed with breast cancer, and we spoke with her and pleaded with her so that we can do the treatment, have the breasts removed, and get to the necessary treatment. She decided she wanted to go to a herbalist, and she was seen by a herbalist, and the herbalist took her funds, gave her different things to take, different bush, and once the patient had advanced or stage 4 breast cancer, he told her he cannot do anything else for her, and he sent her back to traditional medicine, and then we had to be the one dealing with her in a late stage condition, and then she eventually passed away, and we had to speak to her children. Herbal medication and herbal stuff has its place, but medicine has been tested and tried for hundreds of years, and it's constantly being evolved. And if I would not put my father or my family's life at risk with any herbal medicine, if they have any serious health condition, I would not advise my patient to do so. Herbal medicine, eating well, is very good, helping to prevent and keep your blood pressure down, your blood sugar down. But once you have a cancer, there is not a particular bush that is going to cure that. You need a combination of healthy diet, but you're going to need some surgery or some type of traditional medication. So I would like to end with that. Thank you, everyone, for always being supportive, always listening and being so engaging.
That's because we love you.
Thank you so much.
He had his Calypso this morning. Yes, we're going to have
not his coffee, his Calypso.
Calypso music.
He's in a really good mood today.
You're matching me up.
And we I love you guys too. So thank
love
you.
you too,
enjoy
Doc.
having
Yes.
you.
We have our next segment, so guys, stick and stay. We're going to hear from the Standing Point Benevolent Society.
You have your wait, you didn't go to Sandy Point, right?
No, I went to the Washington Natural.
I was just gonna say.
Wildcat.
I was gonna say if you don't behave, I'll tell Mr. Hodge. I'll give Mr. Hodge my belt.
But I know him
Deal
from the
with you.
Methodist Church.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Found the Sound 98.9. Win FM.
Magnum, my brand. Everybody put your Magnum in the air now. From you a drink Magnum, make me see. Take charge of things now your place now. From the river to the beach to the street. Hot Magnum when me have in a me hand there. Here a sipper, she tell me sweet. Look for me watch for your quick time check. Yeah. Right now a Magnum for your beat. Enjoy yourself every day of the week with a Magnum. My life I forget sweeter. Must be 18 years and older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Hey kids, drink healthy.
Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink the more healthy way. It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby. 25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy, drink lots of chubby. Kicking football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun. It's chubby. Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed. It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby. 25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun. It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
If you want make a ginger, give me kokoro. My coach, I be your love. Anywhere I go, just come up with my bum, my love. Don't they do like bolo?
If you want make a ginger, give me kokoro. My body be your love. Come make a show you my banana. No, they do like bolo.
Radio never sounded like this.
Radio never sounded like this, sounded like this.
98.9 Win FM.
Win FM.
18 minutes until, make that 17 minutes until 10 o'clock.
Yes, and we're back.
And we're in very esteemed company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Commissioner of Police.
So we've got Dr. Hodge and a team. Doesn't he ever? Mr. For some reason, I thought you had a doctorate. I don't know. Sorry. My bad.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So we are here with our guests. We have Shermel, and we also have Shermin. Sorry, and we also have Vincent Hodge here with us as well, and they're here from the Sandy Point Benevolent Society. And guys, tell us, what is it that you're here to talk about? We know, but we want you to tell the audience what you're here to talk about.
Okay, so good morning, everyone in Radio Land. So I'm Sherman Stevens, and I am president of the Sandy Point Benevolent Society St. Kitts chapter.
Yes.
We have 3 chapters. The parent chapter is based in the U.S., there's a fledgling one in Anguilla, and we have the one in St. Kitts. So what's happening this year, we are hosting a gala on the 26th of this month over at the Marriott. So we are here to help do some promotion with regards to that and to let persons know what SPBS is all about.
So what is it all about? I know we've heard it so many times. I've heard it so many times. So there might be persons out there who are asking, what is the Sandy Point Benevolent Society?
Well, I would let Mr. Hodge talk some more on that because he's been a member of that organization, this organization, long before I was.
From its inception, maybe?
Not quite the inception.
Okay.
But I think I'm the person with the unique experience when it comes to SPBS.
Okay.
By that I mean, that's better? By that I mean, I was, as I would put it, on the receiving end, and then later I became part of the giving end.
Good stuff.
While I was principal at Sandy Point High School, this group of past students, mainly students who had majored in the sciences, you know, Dr. Stuart Williams, Dr. Marvin Richardson, Trevor Handley, Trevor Duggins, Charlie Mills, Alric Warner, those guys, they came together. All of them were in the States, mainly in New York. And I guess they were impressed with what I was doing at Sandy Point High School.
Yes.
Because I had gone in there on the occasion of the school's 25th anniversary. And I hold the distinction of being the first past student to go back to head the school. And I take pride in saying that. Because for me as an educator, that has been my greatest achievement, to go back to head my school. Not to become the permanent secretary in education. Going back to be the principal of Sandy Point High School, I feel has been my greatest accomplishment and as educator. And so I went in there, I read the Riot Act, and the rest is history. So the guys wanted to show their appreciation for what I was doing, and they introduced what was called the Principals Award. That meant that the top students coming in from the Sandy Point Primary School would be awarded. And that went on for a number of years. At this time, I had already served St. Paul's as principal of the primary school. And I said, no, we need to bring the St. Paul's people into this. So we got them to introduce the Principals Award at Newcomb Primary, St. Paul's Primary, and then Gateway Primary. And so we kept that going until when Sadler Secondary School opened up, and automatically Gateway had to go to Sadler's. And so the feeder schools then become St. Paul's,
Newton
Brown, and
Brown.
Sandy Point Primary. And so we kept that going. We kept that going up until now. Now, the group in New York would liaise with the school and ask us what we want. They sent us a refrigerator at one time. They paid for it. A skeleton, a full-length human for biology, something for chemistry, the hot water, something. It was Bunsen Williams, the late Bunsen Williams, may he rest in peace, actually pushed for that. And Bunsen was one of those persons who said that we are onto something good with this group. We must work with them, because he really wanted that thing to do his chemistry. The school couldn't afford to buy it. The ministry wasn't providing it. And so when we got it, he was on top of the moon, and he was a strong supporter of SPBS. I remember at one time he and his wife, Cynthia, attended the banquet in New York.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So basically, as I said, I was there to receive. And then when I retired the first time and, and migrated to the States, I joined with the group.
Nice.
I served as president, I served as vice president, I served as general secretary. In fact, it was during my time as president that we pushed for the banquet to start it. Now I lived in Maryland, 4 hours drive from New York. But I would be at every event. You know, we start a breakfast, I would go up to New York, go by my sister's house, cook my bullfoot soup, saltfish and everything to
For
take.
breakfast?
For breakfast, yes.
Bullfoot soup,
I'll
wow.
get you some bullfoot soup for breakfast. Yes, you know.
Sounds like a song title.
You know, and so then we emerge into giving, the principals awardees, let me say something. They get $300 when they come into high school. At the end of fifth form year, they get $500. At the end of the CFBC, we expect them to go, because these are the top students, so we expect them to go on to CFBC. And so they get $1,000. When they're ready to move on to postgraduate, CFBC to do their first degree, they get $1,500 US.
So is this the same individual who receive it at the primary school level?
Yes, all the way.
It follows them through.
It follows them through.
Wow.
Yes.
So once you are the top student in the primary school,
So
it
you have to
follows you.
maintain being at the top.
And in addition to that, when they go to CFBC, they have to give back. Because we have what we're going a mentorship program.
Okay.
So they have to be a part of that mentorship program in order to qualify.
So it's a sort of paid forward type thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
don't you find that, okay, you're the top student from the primary school level, and I know that at times there might be someone, let's say the person who came third at primary school, might come first in high school. You haven't seen that? Is it that usually the same person who comes first in the primary school continues to come first in the high school?
No, what you said is
No, it's not that they have to be the top student when they get to high school. From the time they are initiated into our program, we take them right through.
Okay.
That's
then.
what we do.
Okay then.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow, so primary school really matters then, because
Yes.
it really gives
Grassroots.
you.
Absolutely. And
Yes.
in addition to that, even though you would have automatically gotten $1,000 or $1,500 as a principal's awardee, you have the opportunity to apply for scholarship.
Okay.
We have a number of scholarships going. One is called the Sir Hugh Rollins and Lady Rollins scholarship of $2,000. We all know Sir Hugh Rollins.
Yes.
He taught history at Sandpoint High School.
Okay.
Yes. And that is given to a number of persons who applied. They must be doing a master's or a doctorate.
Okay.
Yeah. Persons like Dr. Shavon Brown from Sandy Point, she got one of those. One of my most excellent students, lawyer Chris Freeman, got one of those. And I think two other persons from St. Paul's got that scholarship. Yes, there's a Dr. Hannah Guichard, one of my ex-grade 6 students. She puts like $5,000 into scholarship fund. Dr. Pemberton, what's his first name again?
Jurel Pemberton.
Jurel Pemberton got one of those. And
he's
Dr.
also a member of our organization.
Okay,
That's
nice.
right.
Yeah.
And there's a Dr. Brown from Sandy Point.
Yes.
He got one of those
Dr.
scholarships.
Wilshire.
Dr. Joycelyn Wilshire, she got one of those. Her brother got one of those. He's studying for a master's now in Taiwan.
Okay.
Yes.
And
And we reached out to a teacher from Sadler's. I think her last name is
French.
French.
Andrina.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she got one of those
Oh,
scholarships.
nice.
Wonderful.
It's one of my little campers from back in the day.
Yes. And one of the things, though, we need persons to be aware of, it's not just the Sandy Point community.
We realize that, yes.
Transcended the Sandy Point community, and so we have a couple of scholarships in the Virgil's High School.
That's right.
As
Yes.
well.
So you're making your way up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff.
Yeah. And across the Nevis.
Yeah, and good.
Oh, wow.
And
Federation.
our motto for the organization is that we give back so that others can move forward.
Wow,
and so
that's
we
wonderful.
encourage
I
persons
love
to
that.
Yeah.
come on board with us. And it's not just about education, because we give back beyond the education realm as well. If we see there's a need in the community, we've given to persons who would have lost items in fires and so on. You know,
Hospital,
if they're at
medical.
hospital, whatever, we do give back. We give back so others can move forward. One of our most recent giving back was the police sports club. I think it was just during the summer.
Yes.
They had a workshop with some youths, and we gave back to that. All those shirts that you saw them wearing and so on, we gave those to the organization. So we do give back.
That's really good. That's really wonderful. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So the banquet, as I said, the late Azard Elliott, bless his soul.
Yep.
He used to say sometimes you have to blow your own trumpet because if other people blow it, they're going to spoil it. So I today I look back and I feel a sense of pride that Alric, a classmate of mine, Alric Warner, he was a nephew of the late revered teacher Pauline Warner, who was principal at Virtual's All-Age School. And he has actually put 2 scholarships in her name, one at Virtual's in her memory and one at Sandy Point High School. But the 2 of us were the head of the organization, and we took the lead because we were coming from all parts of the United States and we saw the challenges, but we said we're going to do this. You know, I am a person who, when people think I can't do something, I'll show you could do it. You know, and so we got the banquet going. This is the magazine from the first one 11 years ago. Her Excellency Jacinth Henry Martin, proud Sandy Pointer, was our first patron. She came all the way from DC to be the patron for this event.
In New York.
And Dr. Alan Sumsel Jr., he was the keynote speaker. And I told you he put down a master motivational speech. Yes, and so we produce a magazine for every event, every awards banquet. We honor a number of persons. One of the first persons, well, Dr. Sumsel was honored. One of the first person to be honored was Reverend Pastor Judith S. Dale. Her father was an estate manager at farms and that Belmont Estate here. And so she heads a church in the Bronx, Mount Carmel Pentecostal. When I go to New York, that's the church I go to. And our first principal, he's still alive today, Joseph Manchester. He was honored. He lives, I think, is in Canada.
Okay.
Yes. He was principal number 1. And our parent company president, Dr. Stuart Williams. Yes. So this year, this banquet was brought to St. Kitts in 2016. That's the same year when I came to be the permanent secretary in education. And it's interesting that now that I've finished my stint as PS, the banquet is coming back. And the group keep pressing me to be the patron for one of the banquets.
Oh, so you're the patron for this one?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
congrats.
Because, I mean, it coincided, the event in New York coincides with the opening of school.
Okay.
And there was no way that I was going to leave the opening of school, because that's when we lay down the mantle for the year.
Yes.
To go back to New York for this. So now that this has been healthy, I know that I'm retired and I'm on my own schedule, I accepted the honor to be the patron.
Good stuff.
So I'm looking forward to the occasion.
We look forward to having you, Mr. Hodge.
Yeah.
When he spoke about honorees this year, we are honoring 5 individuals in the community in the area of community, that community spirit. The honoree for that category. Don't say it? Okay. It's supposed to be
Keep it a secret.
It's going to be a surprise. It says, don't say it. Okay.
Okay.
So then we have in the area of education, in the area of business, in the area of sport,
culture,
and culture.
Okay.
Yes.
Should we say the names of the awards? That might encourage people to come. Oh. What do you think?
It could be a surprise, but I like that you have the category so people know, oh, who might get this, who might get that. So they'll be guessing, so they'll be interested. Yeah.
Well, this would not be our last appearance. So
Okay.
we will as we
Okay.
go along.
Okay.
But there has already been a release, though.
Yeah, there has
There has
been.
already
Yes,
been a
that's
release.
right. So-
Yes, so I think it's okay
you
to
can-
say
you
it.
can-
Yeah. So, in the area of education, we are honoring this year Mrs. Alexandrina Caesar.
Okay.
She happens to be my first principal from primary school. Yes, and in the area of business, there's Karis Ziley Douglas.
Okay.
Sports is Mr. Daff Rollins.
Okay.
Stuart Daff Rollins, sorry.
Culture.
Community would be Mr. Bunny
Pemberton.
James Bunny Pemberton, right? And for culture, Walston Starshield.
Okay.
The Indomitables.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Good shepherd.
So those are our honorees for this year.
Nice. So congratulations to all the
Congratulations
honorees.
to
Yeah.
everybody. Yes. Wow.
So you want to remind persons of the date and time of the banquet and where it will be held so that they can come out?
The banquet is being held this year, and because persons been asking for it since 2016.
It's back.
It was like, when are you going to bring it back to St. Kitts? Because even some of our sponsors, because we solicit sponsorship for the magazines, that's one of our fundraisers. And so you find the local sponsors have been asking, when are you going to bring the banquet to St. Kitts?
Yeah.
And so it's in St. Kitts this year on the 26th of December at the Marriott.
Okay.
Yes.
We are encouraging persons. We have an hour, a cocktail hour from 6:45 until 7:45.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are really encouraging people. The ticket is saying 7 o'clock. We're really encouraging people to get there for 6:45 so that they can enjoy their cocktail hour. They don't have to pay for that. And it's a time for them to socialize and so on. But at 7:45, we're going to begin to get people moving in, taking up their seats, because we want to start this event on time. So when Her Excellency Dame Marcella arrives, we sing in that national anthem and we get in the show on the road, because patrons, the supporters, the people who attend, they always complain they don't get enough time at the end to dance, those who want to shake a leg. And so in order to maximize on time, we're going to start on time. So we're encouraging people to get there early and to get parking. If not, they have to go across by the police station across there to park.
Yes.
If you want to park in the Marriott yard, you have to get there early.
Yes.
And tickets are only $300.
A mere
EC dollars, a mere EC
Mere
dollars.
300,
We also do a raffle. This year we are raffling a cruise.
For two.
Ooh.
A Caribbean cruise, 7-day cruise for two.
If you're not included. A weekend stay at one of our premier hotels here for the second prize, and the third prize is a gift card from Amazon. The tickets are only $20 per book. There are 5 tickets in the book for $20.
Not bad.
Right, $5 for one ticket. You can get 5 tickets in a book for $20. We are also going to be hosting a boat ride on the 31st of December, and it goes for $65 per person. You purchase your food and your drinks on board. So tickets are available. The members, Lord, it's difficult to give out all the numbers right now, but you can call me for tickets for any one of the events that I just spoke about, 663-6266. And I'll hook you up with tickets for any of these events.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I let you guys go a little over time because I always like to support worthy causes. So it's 3 minutes past 10 o'clock. Time to get kicked out. I'm kidding. You guys are.
Okay, Trevor.
Ooh, he got the government name.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
We worked together years ago.
Okay, I figured.
We were little people then.
Oh, you're grown up
So
now.
guys, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so
It
much
was indeed
for
our pleasure.
informing us about what is happening with the Benevolent Society there in Sandpoint.
And thank you for having us.
Our
And
pleasure.
hopefully we
Looking
see you
forward.
at the event.
And I must say, I never knew a Sandy Point Benevolent Society existed, but now I know. And no, I didn't know.
It is strange because
I never-
sometimes you would hear persons say they know about us, and then some person would say, "I've never heard of you." You know, so
Well, they certainly
some
do
persons
now.
know a lot about us, and
Yeah.
some persons don't know. So I'm hoping after today, a lot of persons would know.
Yeah.
about
The
us
entire
and-
federation
and
knows.
support us.
Yes.
Because,
Okay.
you know, what we do is all for a worthy cause.
Yes.
Indeed.
Awesome.
I would like to encourage alumni associations at all of our schools because I see the value of an alumni association. I mean, that's a culture that is ingrained in the United States. And so we have a long way to go. You know, as the president said, we give back so others can move forward. And it is really a source of comfort to know that you have this association that supports your school. One of the first things that we gave to the Sandy Point High School was an intercom system. The only school in St. Kitts that the principal could stay in his or her office and speak to the entire school. I would have been so happy to have that when I was principal.
Oh Lord, he would have terrorized us. I would him. So
Yeah. And then we give a full
steel pan
orchestra that cost the group some $26,000. Again, when I was principal, we didn't have a steel pan, and I keep saying we need a steel pan, we need a steel pan. You know, so I encourage alumni associations. I think Keon is onto something as well, and I think all of the schools have a little something going. But I would like to encourage the principals to embrace these associations and to work with them. In 2016, we had a sold out crowd. We sold one ticket 2 and 3 times. Marriott. But it's not going to happen this time.
Okay. No problem. Yes.
It's not
Yes.
going to happen this
All right.
time. We're not going over 500.
Okay.
That's the capacity.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you so much
No
for having us.
Okay.
And we look forward to coming back.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that also does it for today's edition of Island Tea and his Hoping K. Okay, guys, so we'll be back tomorrow on Hump Day, Tuesday, December 6th. That's going to do it for Island Tea. We are out.